Thank you, everyone. And it's my great pleasure to have you here today to this event to share our expertise, experiences, and how to help you to jumpstart an agile workplace. In the last, I would say, two and a half years, there are two major events that I think is very significant to change the way we work, the way we face our economy and businesses environment entirely. One is I need to put this, pandemics. Pandemics have led us to change the way we work, to shift the workplace to agile and hybrids. And it also leads us to reconsider what is the future office going to be, how we work. And a lot of business leaders are considering how to define the future or the workplace about people, space, and how to integrate the technology to empower the hybrid work modes, while also taking consideration of the security of the assets. The second is the world have changed. The last 12 months, there were so many, changes in the world, like international conflicts, inflations, or climate issues, etc., and including SCM, supply chain management. Business leaders will need to consider many factors in terms of mitigate their business decisions. The uncertainty of the situations, and also the many factors they need to consider in terms of driving their business strategy, which it brings a lot of complexity, as well as what works today may not work tomorrow. There is lack of clarity. So we need to focus how to streamline our processes, mitigates these possible challenges in future by focusing your core domains while connected the digital end-to-end processes to allow you to be ready for the new challenges. The technology that we have today, the reality of the changes we're facing in our businesses are changing the best practices we have. The shift in work style, digitally, the information you need to access anywhere, any place, we are the power of the cloud, and the need to cater the cyber attacks, as well as the streamline workflows and automate manual processes. According to Gartner, all these business leaders have raised that first thing is digital, the keywords. Second is how to run the end-to-end digitized processes. How to jumpstart to an agile workplace? How do I know what technology to invest? How do I design my businesses? How do I free up and create meaningful work for employees so that they can focus on the domains to move forward? What are the best practices we have? These are the questions I have encountered from many business leaders. Today, with our partners, we are going to share all the different solutions and how we can help you to jumpstart an agile workplace so that you will stay competitive and maximize the return of human assets. Now, the next question is, why Ricoh? That I will let my colleagues, Steven Berger, to share with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I didn't get your name, but thanks. That was really good. I'm not going to talk like him. I talk like I'm from New York. But yeah, so the way I fit in, and I am living in Japan now. Obviously, I'm not Japanese. I've been at Ricoh 22 years. I helped the digital transformation of Ricoh USA and Ricoh Canada. And about 2 years ago, our CEO of Asia Pacific said, hey, would you be interested in moving to Japan? And I said, where's that? No, I'm kidding. I said, yeah, sure, right? So came to Japan, and now working with Ben and all our managing directors across Asia Pacific. I'm learning so much about the world, about APAC, about different cultures and so on. And I think a lot of business challenges that you folks face and other companies across the world have are all very similar. It's how we solve them and how we keep our employees motivated is kind of the key to moving forward. So, yeah, we got to figure this out. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about, and I think we're about half Ricoh, you know Ricoh and you do business with us. Half of you are talking to Ricoh about trying to help you solve your problems. So I just put up kind of a quick chart here about Ricoh and give you some basics, because I've been one of the luckiest Ricoh employees in the world. Worked in the US, worked in Japan, now servicing APAC. I've seen Ricoh's power across the world. It's really incredible being part of Ricoh and being part of the, how many customers. In APAC alone, we have almost 87,000 customers. So when Ben talked to you about, we're going to talk to you about agile workplace. We're going to talk to you about process automation. We're not just telling it on behalf of APAC. All the lessons learned, all the technology, all the capabilities we have across the globe are now at your disposal because you're going to work or hopefully partner with Ricoh. Been around since 1936, been a while. 80,000 employees worldwide. And I'll talk to you later about our footprint across the globe. And I don't know, some of you might be smaller customers, some of you might be enterprise. But once you get into the Ricoh ecosystem, we can support you and your business wherever that might be across the globe. Whether it's our dealer channel partners or whether it's our direct operations, we can support you there as well. We think engineering leadership, we still invest a lot of our revenue into R&D and to support new developments and so on. And again, in 220 countries, whether that's Ricoh direct operations or whether that's one of you folks. I know we have a handful of our distributors and channel partners here as well. So again, if you're new to Ricoh, we're a powerhouse across the globe that can help you solve your problems. All right, so the other thing I wanted to talk about is, I think if you know Ricoh or if you're new to Ricoh, right, what do you think of when you hear about Ricoh? Well, hopefully you think we're a digital services provider. That's my job in marketing. But maybe you're not there yet, right? Maybe you think about, hey, I know you as a print company. I have your MFP devices. I do some managed print with you guys, right? I need help. I run marketing, but I can't run a remote control here. But we've done a lot. So when we looked at where we want to be, and I'm going to talk to you about, we don't want to be everything to every customer out there. What we really are trying to do now is talking to you. Ben talked to you about VUCA, right? The world has changed beyond anyone's belief. And the path forward is not as easy as it used to be. So what we looked at is, where do we want to be with you guys? What kind of problems do we want to solve? And then where do we not have the capabilities we need? And what this is, I'm scared to touch the pointer to point, but this is a kind of a geography map across the world of investments we made in acquisitions. It might be a technology company. It might be a platform company. It might be a distribution channel, if you would. But we want to be your one-stop shop, as Ben said, your integrated provider, that you come to Ricoh and we help you solve your problems. And if we don't have the technology, we'll recommend something for you. But if we see it as a common occurrence in a lot of our customers and businesses, we're going to go out and try and acquire a company to help us solve that problem. So you can see the map here. Some of the recent ones in the US, a company called Cinero. And Ben and the team are going to take you through a bunch of hybrid workplace technology that we're working with some companies here, Smart and Spaces and so on. So when we look at our global customers, right, you say, okay, Steve, I work at Ricoh, they're great. And I've met with many of these CEOs, CTOs, CMOs across the globe. Ricoh is solving these customer problems. Many times we start off with print, but multi-million-dollar projects with these big accounts. IBM out there, FedEx, Amazon. We're even partnering with Amazon to co-create new solutions. Maybe we start, hey, we're going to be their print provider. That's great. We're actually being used in Amazon warehouses now to pick and choose different QR code boxes, right? We're using Ricoh optics technology to help Amazon with that. So as we build relationships, and I'll ask Ben if, based on some of our optic technologies and where we're going, we're creating a new innovation team to help you guys out as well. But again, what would you say, the resume of Ricoh across the globe and in APAC is pretty overwhelming. If these customers are satisfied and working with Ricoh, that there's no reason why we can't help you guys out with your business problems. Got it right. So this is the kind of transition that I want to talk to you about a little bit. Where we came from and why you should believe in Ricoh to really support us to help you solve that next problem. I mean, if you think about Ricoh and how big we are in 220 countries in the operations, we had similar problems you guys did, right? But we were able to invest in technology. We tried a lot of things. Return to work, don't return to work, get a COVID shot, manage this, right? Many things didn't work. But now all the things that we figured out and learned, I mean, I was just in Ben's office. If you guys haven't been there, you should, can I invite them? You should all go, because they've created a live office environment that I want to now move to Singapore instead of Japan. But it's really impressive, and it shows our technology. We call it kind of the live office, because I could show you technology all day. But if you see it in use and you see how it's working in a commercial environment, that's how we think you get it, where the light bulb can go off and can really help you. What this talks about here is the power of Ricoh, that we have been a digital print company for 40, 50 years, if you would. But we've been spending a lot of time, like people talk about COVID, and I'd love to hear some of your stories as we walk around later. We use COVID as an opportunity to really upskill our people, train our reps, look at what technology's out there, and be ready for you guys. So we kind of looked at what are our customer care abouts, how do we transform Ricoh, but then use all that knowledge and focus on, we're calling it areas of expertise that we can help you folks out in your business challenges. If you look at some of these numbers and think about it, 74% of the workers in Asia want flexible work. Everyone's defining their own remote worker strategy. But the question I would ask you folks is, and I don't know how many of your employees are remote or not, how do you measure productivity? How do you make sure that they're focusing on what you want to focus on in your business, right? That's some of the technology that, and not even technology, but the service we can provide you that we've learned as well. We have 90,000 employees. Some of the roles, very remote. Hey, if I'm working on a PowerPoint for Ben, I could do that remote. If I need to do a huddle, a workshop on some new technology, I need a whiteboard and people in the room, right? 66% of the business leaders are worried about their physical spaces. What does that look like? What was your real estate investment prior to COVID? And what should your real estate investment be after COVID? You have 50 employees. How many desks do you need every day? We have technology and a tool set that can actually help you figure that out and optimize your workspace. Okay, everyone's working remote now. What about your data? Who's accessing databases from their home, you guys, Starbucks must be here, right? Starbucks, right? How do you protect your company information? What do we do? Again, how do you work remotely? How do you work safely and securely? So our new value proposition, or not new, but what we really are focusing now is a couple of key things. And if you notice, these things aren't technology focused. What do I want to do for you? What do I want to help you with? We want to be able to simplify complexity in your business. We want you to focus on your business. I don't want you to focus on back office and who's working and how do I set up a meeting room. Let us help you with that. Coming to APAC, the diversity I have in 11 countries and the things we can learn from the different businesses, the different cultures, is really helping us provide value. Instead of looking at APAC as 11 separate countries, how do I look at APAC as a region and combining all that diversity? And what we came up with is our 4 areas of expertise. Hybrid workplace. How do we help you work in this new world of work? Digital workflow and automation. You're gonna see a lot of focus on those 2. And then where we're going is cloud and IT infrastructure, because we need the infrastructure to support those capabilities. And then when you work remote, how do we actually keep your data safe, keep your technology safe, and provide endpoint infrastructure security and so on. And the key thing is, too, that I think is a real strong value, especially for existing customers and new, A lot of our teams, our professional services team and our services folks are in your business already working with your people. So we're not just going to give you something and say, see you later, right? We're going to help you build it. We're going to help deploy it. We're going to provide advisory and design capabilities as you go. You know what? Maybe you outgrow something, or maybe you have a process application that we gave and you want to add something to it, or you want a different application. That's how we can kind of help you manage that. Again, service provider, one-stop shop. So first thing I want to talk to you a little bit about is the whole idea of connecting and working anywhere. And it's again, depending on your business, we probably got to talk a little bit more, and I'd love to talk to as many of you guys as I can. But how are people collaborating, working together? My team is now located in Japan, Australia, Singapore, and Malaysia, right? And how do you create that? So when we talk about hybrid workplace, we talk about a couple of key value propositions. Connecting and collaborate, which I talked to you a little bit about, right? How do I keep my employees connected? How do you keep your employees motivated when they're not seeing their peers? We're not seeing their bosses, right? How do we really connect them and make them feel part of a team? And we have a couple of capabilities. There is a couple of products there, but the idea is that being able to keep people connecting and collaborating the right way. Spending a lot of time on the workspace management. We felt that that was key. Think about Ricoh's 80,000 employees, and think about the real estate footprint Ricoh has. How do we manage that workspace and optimize it? The two biggest concerns coming out of COVID, or during COVID, were cash management at a company, and I'm sure you guys, everyone wants cash management, and their health of their employees, both mental and physical, right? So that's what we focused our efforts on. If we're in 1 out of every 3 businesses in the world from a print solution, why can't we actually now take over their meeting spaces, take over their communication? So our value props aren't just, hey, Steve, I'm going to make cars next week. It's actually tied to business and tied to the office. And then last, where we've lived and breathed, are smart devices, but these devices are changing too. Ricoh has 3D imaging technology now. We've actually acquired companies. We're partnering with a company called OutSystems, you're going to see later today, all to build applications and workflow to solve your business challenges. Now you could say, Steve, I can't afford that stuff. That's for the enterprise account. You know what? We can make a low-code app that could solve a very small, even a micro customer's problem. So, you know, talk to us about those problems. We're interested too, because guess what? If you have that problem, other customers can have that problem. And I want to go in and be that one-stop shop for everybody. But we want to look at how you're managing your content and your workflow. How do I manage content? Now, what if it's an invoice? What if it's a job application? Those are real critical, right? Capabilities that we can to manage that content, find it, index it as it gets ingested, so then you can find it and use it at any time. And you know what? Now people need to access it anywhere. It's got to be securely in the cloud, and if I'm working out of my house in Japan and my counterpart in Australia needs it, how do they access it, right? Process automation. How do we actually understand your processes, map it to something that's tangible, and then solve? Might not always solve the problem without you. We need to work together to solve that problem. How do we do that? And then I call this navigating the waters of the business applications. Google business applications, there's hundreds, thousands if you would, right? But based on best practices that we've had with our customers, how can we help you kind of navigate through that and work with you so you don't buy a tool set that you don't need, right? You want to buy this tool set so you can optimize it. We have, again, 2 or 3 value propositions based on network infrastructure, cybersecurity, even offering devices as a service. Now, again, you could say, why Ricoh? Because think about it. If I'm able to support your print needs, if I'm able to support your hybrid workplace needs, I can support your cloud and IT and cybersecurity needs as well. So that's all I got. Thank you for your time today. Thanks for coming, and I'm around if anyone wants to talk later on. So thank you.